Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th, Eubank Jr versus Benn. 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
I do hate him.
All comes down to this. The next generation, a new destroyer. For family, history, legacy. Eubank Jr versus Benn, April 26th. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
All right, so final thoughts for Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. And listen, I have to do it. Because going into fight week, I was very sure Chris Eubank Jr. would win this fight. I did know that the rehydration clause and the making of middleweight would probably be an issue for Chris Eubank Jr. Probably would. But I thought, given he had ample time, and given it wasn't as extreme as the first proposed date was, because that was very extreme, I think it was 157, so it was a very extreme weight cut. I thought that he probably would be okay to do the weight, and then you would treat this as an IBF type of fight where you have that 10 pounds to work with the next day, you do that, and then you proceed to your fight on fight night. I thought it would be something like that. It hasn't. In terms of Chris Eubank Jr., the more I think about this and the more I see what's happened this week, and the more I see what he's been doing, being so open about everything, being so open about how hard the weight cut is, showing footage of himself actually trying to make the weight, which again, you don't really want to be doing that. I mean, some people have been speculating that he's pulling a Ryan Garcia, that, you know, he planned on coming in a little bit overweight, that he planned on skipping just the generic rehydration clause. Well, he didn't. He actually did adhere to that, but he came to it late, and that has me wondering, did he actually try and take a little bit more weight off and now has to rehydrate that back on? He definitely has to. He's got only 12 hours to do that, essentially. Basically 12 hours. So seeing all that, it kind of, I'm not even going to lie, it kind of has me thinking, that is Chris Eubank Jr. at 35 years old, is he coming here for the payday? Or what is he coming here for? Because there's no title on the line. It's at a weight that he's clearly outgrown. And what does he gain from beating Conor Benn other than a big payday? You know, Conor Benn, I don't believe will ever be world champion. I think his ceiling is quite low. There's talk of him going down to 154, win or lose this fight. You want to fight Murdazali, I think the guy's name is. You want to fight Tim Tszyu. You want to fight Sebastian Fondora. You want to fight Israel Madrimov. You want to fight Boacek. You want to fight Ortiz. You go and do that. See how that works. It's not going to work well. So I don't really understand when I look at it. Now, again, I'm intrigued in this fight, and we will be doing a live watch along about 8:30 this evening. So please, I know a lot of people are doing it, but your boy has the good commentary. Let's please, tune in for your boy. Tune in for your boy. We'll do that. I hope so. It'd be good fun. But nevertheless, Chris Eubank Jr. has really nothing to gain. He would have been better off going up to 168, maybe looking to get the Canelo fight, or looking to at least pick up a version of a title. You know, if and when they become fragmented and fractured, you have a chance to actually win a title there, because the real sharks in the division, the Dave Morrells, the Benavidez, have moved up, and now it's kind of, all right, it's a bit like, it's a bit flat on the surface, so why not try that? Instead, he's pursued this fight, and again, he's been very open about the struggles in making weight. I still don't understand why you would show your opponent all those clips if you're struggling, because all it's done is just fuel Conor Benn, and rightly so. You know, Conor Benn is obviously going to be very confident, saying, oh my God, I've got a dead fighter in front of me, as you would, which is why a lot of the times when people are struggling to make weight, you know, Tony Bellew, I remember when he fought Adonis Stevenson, he was very open in the immediate aftermath of that fight, saying he was dead on the scale, and I believe him, I really do. He was dead on the scales. It was a horrible weight cut. He was dominated by Adonis, like really dominated that night, and nearly knocked out brutally. Referee saved him that night. I think it was Michael Griffin, the referee, was refereeing that night. And he spoke about how he didn't want to give anything away, and you can't say like, oh, I'm struggling, to make weight and stuff like that. You're not going to say that, because you're just going to give your opponent all the more confidence. And once he went up to cruiserweight, different story. He was a much better fighter, much more improved. You've seen how weight drained and how bad he was at 175 pounds, but you don't want to let your opponent know that. Chris Eubank Jr. is doing it, and for me, from the outside looking in, this just says to me, oh, he's coming for that money. He's not. Is he really coming to win? I thought he was originally, but the more I look at this and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, is he actually really truly coming to win? If he's being so honest about all these struggles, if he's showing Conor Benn, if he's turning up late to the second day weigh-in, there comes a point where there's no mind games, because here's the thing: if you're coming in late for a second day weigh-in, and you're to be there for 9 and you're there at basically 10, basically an hour late, right? That tells me that probably likelihood is you were taking a little bit of weight off, and now it's an hour less to rehydrate. You're not going to do that. At the end of the day, if you were really keen on winning this fight, you probably just skip it. You just say, F it, there'll be more paydays to come. I'm just going to skip this, take the fine, and just come in whenever I want. He didn't do that. So again, for me, I'm kind of like, all right, this isn't boding well if you're siding with Chris Eubank Jr. So for that reason, and after everything that's happened this week, I do still think Eubank Jr. in terms of talent between the two is the better fighter. Their ceilings are not particularly high, both of these guys. They're never going to do what their dads did. They're never going to do that. They're never going to be what their dads were in terms of fighting, in terms of their legacy that they leave behind. You know, they will leave behind the legacy, both these fighters, but they won't leave the kind of endearing legacy that their fathers respectively did. We all talk about Chris Eubank Jr., you know, the fights he had against Michael Watson, the fights he had against Nigel Benn, you know, the fights he had against Joe Calzaghe, Carl Thompson, etc., Steve Collins. We talk about them. We talk about Nigel Benn, Gerald McClellan on ITV, 25th of February 1995. We talk about those types of fights. Conor Benn and Eubank Jr., they're not going to leave that type of a legacy. No, they're not. But they will leave something. They will leave something. I have to go and change my mind on this one and say that I don't know how, but Conor Benn will probably take this fight. He probably will. Because I just think that Chris Eubank Jr. has made his bed, he's got to lie in it. Look, it's not right that Team Ben have felt the need for all these things, the smaller ring, Billy Joe Saunders to do the hand wrap of Chris Eubank Jr. and the rehydration clause. If Conor Benn and Nigel Benn speak so confidently about Conor's ability, if they speak so confidently about him in sparring, then all of these things shouldn't even come into it. You would want this win to be as clean as a whistle. You would want this win to be just you, nothing else. I beat the best man. I beat the best version I could have of Chris Eubank Jr. Everything was, even playing field, no rehydration clause, no unnecessary, small ring, no guy he hates doing his hand wraps. I just beat the better man. You're not going to have that. So if you were so confident, why didn't you just do it like that? I think Conor Benn is going to win because I think Chris Eubank Jr. has put too many obstacles in place for himself. And personally, this week, I'm getting the vibes that he is turning up for that 10 mil, and then he is going to say one with a different finger to everyone. And I'm going off into the sunset. That's what I'm thinking. Those are my thoughts. Those are my final thoughts on this fight. And yeah, let me know yours. Leave it in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will be live at about 8:30 for this fight. We will get the co-main, which is probably Anthony Ardley. I can't imagine that's going to go very long. And then we'll be into the main event. So let me know your thoughts below. I hope, as always, you enjoyed this video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. People, until next time. Peace.